management and advertisers.
It's time for the most interactive radio program in Las Vegas today. It's time for Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Now, Pushing the Limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you so much for joining us, the fastest growing show in the Valley, and we appreciate you being a part of it. You could be listening on the FM/AM dial. You could be watching and listening on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitch, on X. Of course, the Occupy Democrats Network. We're on the Washington Press Network. And as I said, we appreciate you being a part of what we do here. We got a lot to get to. A lot happened over the weekend. And certainly a lot to talk about from a sports perspective, too, certainly, but from a political perspective. So we're going to get into a little bit of everything here. We're going to be talking a little bit here in just a few minutes on how, the far right is saying that Joe Biden froze up with Barack Obama on stage. Obviously, that's not the case. The lies continue from the far right. We're going to get to that. These bump stocks, if you recall, after the October 1 shooting here in Las Vegas, when I think we lost close to 60 people, Trump put in a ban on bump stocks. Well, guess what? The Supreme Court overruled it, and Donald Trump certainly has no problem with it now because the NRA is backing Donald Trump. Very similar to what many of these MAGA Republicans do, where when it comes to public safety, they choose their A-plus rating from the NRA before public safety. So we will certainly get into that as well. So I got an email, and by the way, I hope everybody had a great Father's Day. I did as well. Played golf with the family over the weekend. Had a really fun weekend with some fun activities, and I hope everybody had a great Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the people out there, including my dad, who's a great dad. So I hope everyone had a great Father's Day yesterday. I open up my email, as I do every morning, especially before the radio show. And I see an email from the Trump campaign. I'm on their media list, so I get all their surrogates and all their emails. And usually I chuckle at most of them. But I got to say, this one was pretty much over the top. In the email, it says that President Trump has tripled his support among black voters from 7% in 2020 to 21% today. Now, they don't even list where they're getting this information from, but the email goes on. It says among black voters age 50 and above, Biden has dropped to 9 points. Again, they don't cite where they're getting that information from. They say among black voters under the age of 50, Biden nearly halved his support, dropping 43 points. They say in a head-to-head matchup with President Trump in battleground states, Biden dropped to 63% support with black voters. If you include 30-party candidates, Biden gets less than 50% of black voters. Now, again, I'm reading this email verbatim, and I didn't see anything where they cited where they got that information from. If you recall, Trump shows up at a Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, and all of a sudden this random black lady, we're supposed to believe, just gives Donald Trump a hug. Well, guess what? This same random black lady was also seen with Donald Trump at a private event at Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, and this church event in Detroit. If you want to know who she is, because, boy, what a great grassroots campaign. So much support that Donald Trump has in the black community. The same black woman traveling with him everywhere. Her name is McCullough Montgomery. She's a black conservative activist, and she coordinated with the Trump campaign a group of black students to meet Trump at his Chick-fil-A. That was not random, like some on the right-wing media would like you to believe. That was coordinated with the Trump campaign. She's traveling with Donald Trump. So what a great grassroots campaign. Let's also be clear here. The Blacks for Trump organization, the co-chairs, are two white women, Diana Black and Marsha Blackburn. Donald Trump got less than 20% of the black vote in 2016. He got less than 20% of the black vote in 2020. And I guarantee you that Donald Trump will get less than 20% of the black vote in 2024. And for all you people out there that seem to think that Donald Trump is going to do what he says he does, when he was in Las Vegas last week and he talked about how he's not going to tax tippers. Boy, it's very interesting, isn't it? Why would he mention that in Las Vegas, service industry town, because he's begging for your vote? He randomly just brings that up. Randomly. In Las Vegas in 2024. My question to Donald Trump, because many of the MAGA dopes that support him don't think, why didn't he do this in 2016? He had 4 years to implement something like this. Why all of a sudden does he want to do it now? And again, my second question to the MAGA dopes out there is, why do you believe him when he says he's going to do something? Do you remember in 2016 when he said, we're going to lock her up? We're going to hire a special prosecutor to investigate Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton was never locked up. She was never indicted. And he didn't even hire a special prosecutor to do so. He said he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. He built 16% of the wall. Mexico didn't pay $1 for it. Whatever happened to those people who went to Trump University and they're still waiting to get their accredited degrees? Whatever happened there? Do you remember when Donald Trump said that he was going to implement this infrastructure bill? What happened there? Do we remember for years he said he was going to replace Obamacare? It's going to be ready in a few weeks. That replacement plan never came to the table. Why do you people still believe this man when he says anything, let alone when he says he's going to put forth the law where you can't get taxed on tips? It's never going to happen. He's never going to implement it. He's lying. And he's pandering because he wants your vote so that he can pardon himself. So it's a free get-out-of-jail pass called for Donald Trump. This isn't about make America great again, which I have differences of opinions of what that means. That's a whole nother story. This is about make Donald Trump get out of jail free card. That's what this is about. Donald Trump wants to be the president again so he can get out of most of his legal troubles. And he's pandering, and he wants your vote. And for all these people out there, including the Trump campaign and the surrogates that say, well, you know, it's tripled the support from the black community. It's tripled. It is so beyond the pale, and it is so disgusting, and it is so reprehensible. And while all this stuff is going on, and MAGA supporters out there are claiming that the black support, it's just deafening. And he goes to this black church in Detroit where 90% of the people in the video are white. I mean, it's laughable. You can't make this stuff up. Well, Donald Trump spoke over the weekend at a Charlie Kirk event. And at that event, where Donald Trump was the headliner speaking, they gave out White Boy Summer hats. And they gave the phrase out, White Boy Summer. What exactly does that mean as they show the flag? What does that mean, White Boy Summer? Well, it's a white nationalist phrase. I would imagine no black people will be wearing the shirts White Boy Summer. Maybe Candace Owens, maybe Kanye West, but that would be about it. Yeah, the people there in the crowd, by the way, who accepted those gifts, not black. And they want to say that Trump is getting all this support from black voters. And Charlie Kirk said that so many black people, quote, went up to him saying they were all in for Trump. Yeah, I'm sure that happened. Random black people. I'm sure they just run up to Charlie Kirk saying, hey, we're all in for Donald Trump. These people are such liars. When are you going to stop believing these people? I never believed these people. When are you going to stop? There is a reason why the overwhelming majority of minorities in this country do not vote Republican. There is a reason why Donald Trump hasn't even been close to 1 in 5 minorities voting for him, because they know what he represents. They understand that he is not for them. If you don't believe me, go to Mar-a-Lago and see how many minorities are over there hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. He hates people like you. He hates people like me. They're all wealthy, rich, white people is what they are. The idea that, oh, he's got all this black support. What? Because Kanye West says so? Because Trump surrogates say so? Because they send me an email? Because he shows up to a black church in Detroit where 9 out of 10 people are white? If you don't believe me, just look at the video yourself. It's nonsense. The idea that he's getting the minority vote. It is absolute nonsense. He lost the popular vote both times. He lost the minority vote badly to Donald Trump. but some of you people still believe that all of a sudden he's going to stop taxing people for getting tips. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. He never follows through on things that he says he's going to do. When are we finally going to believe that as a country? Most of us do, but the loud minority does not. He literally campaigned on two things in 2016 that he didn't follow through on, which is we're going to build a wall, Mexico's going to pay for it, and we're going to hire a special prosecutor to lock up Hillary Clinton. I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I understand Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. I think at every rally that is on the left, there should be chance of lock him up. Lock him up. They were doing the same thing to Hillary Clinton. Lock him up. General Flynn, they all did it. And some of those people are people that were actually locked up themselves, including Steve Bannon that has to report to jail on July 1st. I'm very sad that Steve Bannon, the only fireworks will be of him farting in his toilet. That's it. That's the only fireworks he's going to see. I mean, I don't understand why some of you still believe this man. Why? Why do you still believe him? Is there any reasonable person out there that still believes or does believe that Donald Trump is getting the black vote? Are we insane? Are we insane? And then this video comes out over the weekend where the right is saying, Joe Biden froze up. We'll get to that. But this is Kellyanne Conway. I want to play you a little bit of audio from her first, of course, appearing on her favorite network, Fox Noise. And she starts talking about, all this Donald Trump support from people who are black in this black church. Have a listen to this.
Not doing anything like that. Look at the contrast of just this weekend. You got Donald Trump in Detroit talking to 8,000 people, and then at a black church, of course.
Yeah, black church. Let me be very clear on this. That black church is as white as the corporate offices at the Trump organization. But these people on the far right, again, want to make the claim because it was a black church and 90% of the people there were white, that somehow he has all this black support. And they want to believe that, oh, look at this, he's going to stop taxing people for tips. So morons are taking pictures and it's trending and they're going out to eat and they're tipping and then they're writing Trump 2024. These people are some of the dumbest people America has to offer. Why didn't Trump propose this? And why didn't he attempt to exempt tipped employees from taxation back in 2016? Why didn't he do it then? Why didn't he propose it as part of his budget while president? Why didn't he do it then? Why didn't he propose that during the 2020 elections? Why didn't he do it then? Or 2021 or 2022? Why not during the primary? He didn't propose it then either. Why did he do it in Las Vegas in June of 2024? Because he knows how important Nevada is. He knows it's a battleground state, and he knows this is a service industry town, and he's taking advantage of his stupid supporters, the dumb supporters that believe him when he makes a statement like that. That's why he says it. It is absurd. And you want to talk about absolutely absurd things. Donald Trump has gone on this tour and he wants Joe Biden to take a cognitive test, right? And he's bragging about his cognitive test and he's bragging about how smart he is and how sound he is, right? So over the weekend, he's again preaching the same nonsense and mumbling and bumbling that he does in every single speech. And he's saying that Biden should take a cognitive test. There's only one problem with this. He says his doctor, Ronny Johnson, do you know him? By the way, that's not his name. But this is Donald Trump talking about a cognitive test and then forgets his doctor's name. Have a listen to this.
I think he should take a cognitive test like I did. I took a cognitive test and I aced it. Dr. Ronny Johnson, does everyone know Ronny Johnson, congressman from Texas? He was the White House doctor. And he said I was the healthiest president he feels in history. So I liked him very much immediately. In fact, he said if I didn't eat junk food, I would live to 200. That's what he said.
Yeah. The morbidly obese guy is going to live to 200. By the way, it's Ronny Jackson. The guy, you cannot make this stuff up. He's talking about Joe Biden and how he should take a cognitive test and how cognitively sound he is. And then he forgets the name of the guy who worked with him in the White House, who's going to rallies with him, who he's been seeing a lot lately. He calls him Ronny Johnson. But the right won't cover this. Oh, no. What the right will cover is Joe Biden if he turns around and takes a couple steps in another direction and gives somebody the thumbs up. This isn't anything new for Donald Trump. Do you remember when he held a rally a while back and Matt Gaetz was in the crowd? Listen to what he calls Matt Gaetz.
Trump's fault. It's always Trump's fault. Can it ever be like Rick Gates' fault? I mean, it's always Trump's fault, Rick. By the way, how did the governor do? Did he get up and make a great speech?
It's not Rick Gates, it's Matt Gaetz, or as I like to call him, Venmo DUI Matt Gaetz. But the right won't cover that. Forgetting names, mumbling and bumbling, talking about sharks in the desert. This man is the one that is declining, not Joe Biden. You know, they showed this video a few days ago where the parachuter's coming down. Joe Biden turns around, and there's another man who lands with a parachute. He takes a couple steps in another direction and gives the parachute guy a thumbs up. And somehow they take that as, oh my God, he's wandering around. He doesn't know where he is. They're so disingenuous and they're such liars. And they did it again over the weekend. By the way, Joe Biden hanging out with Julia Roberts, hanging out with George Clooney, hanging out with Barack Obama and Jimmy Kimmel in another event where they raised close to $30 million. But all the right-wing influencers out there are claiming that he froze on a stage. I've watched the video multiple times. There is no freezing. They're saying their goodbyes. He's standing next to Barack Obama. They're waving to the crowd goodbye. And then there's a moment where they leave the stage where Barack Obama just taps his wrist and holds his wrist as to say, yeah, let's go. That's it. And the rest of it, he's not holding his hand. Obama puts his arm around Joe Biden as a sign of endearment. But yet the right is taking that as, oh my God, he froze. Oh my God, Obama had to, help him off the stage. Watch the video. It's not true. It's a lie. Just like the lies the other day when they said, oh my God, he's wandering around. He turned around. That's also a lie. They are lying to you. Just like they lie to you and they say that Donald Trump is getting the support of most black voters in this country. They are liars. They're liars. Just like they stage things with this woman right here. They are liars. He didn't just go into a random Chick-fil-A and a black woman just goes up to him and starts hugging him and says how much. No, that was staged. It was set up. That is proven. What a great grassroots campaign. Just have one black woman traveling with you everywhere and make sure to take pictures of her. Well, guess what? Your gig is up. Because we caught on to you. The waving to nobody, he did it again over the weekend. He's getting onto his, Cheeto Jesus plane, and he starts waving to nobody. Look it up if you don't believe me. He does it almost every day. He waves to people that don't exist. If I waved to someone out there, you would say, well, wait a second, Brian, who are you waving to? There's nobody else in studio except your producer. He does it every day. But should we be surprised? MAGA lying again, ladies and gentlemen. It's exactly what it is. Harry Sisson said MAGA lying. The new lie is that Biden had to be let off the stage by Obama and that he froze up. But that is completely false. Brian Tyler Cohen says right-wing media is becoming so desperate, he's right, by the way, that they're just making up fake stories out of thin air. Alex Vinman writes, rag propaganda garbage, pissing into the wind because New York City will still vote for Biden bigly. I agree with that 100%. Ruffus Gifford. Nothing remotely close to this actually happened. Andrew Bates. Fresh off being fact-checked by at least 6 mainstream outlets for lying about the president with cheap fakes, Rupert Murdoch's sad little super PAC, the New York Post, is back to disrespecting its readers and itself once again. They are all completely 100% correct. That's what the right has to go on. They're certainly not talking about policy unless they want to take away a woman's right to choose and tell women what to do with their body. They're certainly not talking about Obamacare anymore because there is no replacement plan. They don't want to talk about abolishing Social Security, even though people like Mike Lee want to do that. What are they talking about? A tax on Gay Pride Month. I've certainly heard that. I've heard that plenty. Attacks on the transgender community. I got to tell you, before I take a break, a story from this morning. So I'm at the gas station, filling up the tank. By the way, gas price has gone down a little bit. And this woman literally on the other side of me, like a foot away from me. She is decked out in Trump stuff. Trump stickers on the front of her car. Trump stickers on the back of her car. I wasn't going to engage her at all. And she's on the phone, and she's probably an attorney, because I hear her talking about a case and talking about evidence. And she said she has to go to California, and she talked about wokeness, and she talked about Gavin Newsom, and she talked about how to and I hear this all on the phone, right? I wouldn't have said one word to her, but she was so loud and throwing out vulgarities too. She was swearing. So I looked at her, because I'm like a foot away from her, and she's like decked out in all this Trump stuff. Apparently an attorney. At least it sounded like she was. I would assume she was an attorney. And I heard her on the phone say, California's so woke and Vegas is no better. I asked her who the governor was. She says, Joe Lombardo. I says, Joe Lombardo, a Democrat or a Republican? He's a Republican. I said, so who do you have to blame if it's woke? And then I said to her, can you give me an example of something in Vegas that's woke? And she gives me, again, deer in headlight stare, because she's an idiot. You know, we have pretty much an adult playpen here. I think we all could agree in Las Vegas with the Strip, the gambling, the strip clubs, you name it, we got it here. The dispensaries everywhere. And she said Vegas was woke. That's what she said to her office employee on the phone. I could hear everything she was saying. She was like a couple feet away from me. And I said, can you give me an example? Because maybe I don't understand. Just for clarification, what in Vegas is woke? And just like every other MAGA moron out there, she couldn't give an example. She sounded like the same idiot that says, I like Donald Trump's policies. Oh, really? What policies do you like? I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that. But I like Donald Trump's policies. This same moron. Vegas is woke. It's just like California. It's woke. Oh, really? Can you give me an example of how Vegas is woke? Oh, I don't know. So I was respectful to her. I just asked her that question. She said she didn't really want to get into the conversation, didn't want to come up with one. Is that what she didn't say she didn't want to get into the conversation. Couldn't come up with one right now. She had a lot of other stuff on her mind. I said, I understand that. We don't have to talk about this. But I just wanted an example for my radio show. You know, if you can give me an example of something woke, that's all. That's the only reason why I ask, man. She flips me off. She gets in her car. She drives away. That is exactly what Hillary Clinton was saying when she called these people deplorables. Decked out in the MAGA gear, claiming something without any information, any facts to back up her opinion. We are all entitled to our opinions. I'm not saying you're not, but usually when you have an opinion to somebody that is semi-intelligent, you can back it up with a fact. For example, I say Donald Trump is a sexual abuser. Why, Brian? Where's your evidence? He was proven to be liable for sexual abuse in a court of law. A jury of his peers found him guilty of that, not criminally, but liable. And the judge characterized it as rape. Brian, why do you call Donald Trump a felon? Well, because he is a 34-count felon, which was proven in a court of law. Brian, why do you say Donald Trump is racist? Well, because he even said himself that he didn't want black people counting his money in his casinos. He wanted Jews counting his money. And he's made countless comments that are borderline anti-Semitic and racist. And I can go down the list for you. But I have facts to back up my opinions. How can you drive around with your MAGA gear, being the cultist that you are? How? And claim that it's woke, Vegas is woke, libs are woke, without even really knowing the definition of what that word means. My understanding of the definition is you're woke, you're awake, and you're aware of your surroundings. Isn't that a good thing? I would say that's a good thing, not a bad thing. If that's what wokeness is, then go ahead and call me woke. Go ahead. And I haven't even gotten into the bump stocks yet. We're going to get to that when we come back. Because Donald Trump had no problem after the October 1 shooting and banning bump stocks. But now the Supreme Court overrules it, and Donald Trump's totally fine with it, and he's backing away even lying about what he did with the bump stocks back in 2019 after the October 1 shooting. All these Republicans care about, even Donald Trump, is their A-plus rating from the NRA and an endorsement. And to them, that is more important than public safety. We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. I'm also going to take some phone calls when we come back. 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-7283. Do you disagree with me? Do you think that Donald Trump has the black vote? Do you think that Donald Trump, all of a sudden, is going to get more than 15% of the black vote? I find it hilarious, laughable, never going to happen. It wouldn't happen with any Republican in office right now, especially somebody like Donald Trump. What are your thoughts on that? And the right claiming that Joe Biden froze. But, you know, Donald Trump has all that black support, but yet he speaks at a Charlie Kirk event, right? He speaks at this Charlie Kirk event, and they're giving out, you know, these hats. And they're throwing out these hats, and they're coming up with these statements that, you know, white nationalists make on their show. But that seems to be totally fine. That's okay. No problem. I'm sure the black people that are supporters of Donald Trump were very, very happy with that. We'll take some phone calls on the other side. 702-221-7283. Again, the number 702-221-7283. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Ringwood Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and food. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com and get started.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Listening all over, I would imagine, on the FMM dial, the World Wide Web, the Occupy Democrats Network, the Washington Press Network, and many other forms of social media. Let's be honest. There are some people on the far right that do not want me on the air. They want to cancel me. They're the same ones that talk about cancel culture and they complain it, but they don't want me on the air. They don't want me calling out MAGA Republicans. They don't want me calling Donald Trump what he is, which is a convicted felon and, in my opinion, a rapist. They don't want me talking like that on the air. They don't want me calling out these people on the far right. So if you support what I do and you like what I do, I ask you to do a couple things for me. Check out my new website, pushingthelimits.live. I'm really proud of it. It's a great new website. We got merchandise up there, pushingthelimits.live. And, you know, if you don't want to buy merchandise, you could support me. There's a donate button on the website as well. And I appreciate all of your support in what is, I'm very proud to say, one of the fastest growing shows, not only in the Valley, but across the country. And I'm very appreciative to all of you that call in and listen from all over the country. But I can't do it without you. So I ask that you help me. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. We've been talking about a lot of different things here. Before we get to the phone calls, at least 2 bystanders were fatally shot over the weekend in a Juneteenth celebration in Texas on Saturday night. Altercation between two groups of people exploded into gunfire at a free Juneteenth festival co-hosted by the city of Round Rock. There were other shootings, mass shootings across the country over the weekend in what turned out to be a very deadly weekend. And while all this is going on and the mass carnage in this country to gun violence, which I talk about all the time on this show, I talk about this, the gun violence in this country and how it's rising. Well, guess what? In a 6-3 ruling on Friday, the justices upheld a lower court's decision siding with a gun shop owner and gun rights advocates who challenged the ban by claiming a U.S. agency improperly interpreted a federal law prohibiting machine guns as extended to bump stocks. Let me explain that in layman's terms. A gun shop owner is losing money because all he cares about is money. He doesn't care about public safety in this country like so many MAGA Republicans. He just cares about his bottom line, and he wants to be able to sell these machine guns as extended to bump stocks. And we have all these mass shootings going on. Does anybody out there think that bump stocks make us safer? Does anybody out there think that bump stocks make us a safer country? I think not. Thank Republicans for that one. And then Donald Trump with his A+ rating from the NRA. That's really what these people care about. They don't care about public safety. If you hear about a school shooting from a guy like a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio, thoughts and prayers. My heart goes out to the victims, but I want my A+ rating from the NRA. Screw you all. 702-221-7283. Let's start off with Vivian. Vivian is first up on PTL. Hi, Vivian. Hi, Vivian. Are you there? I think we lost Vivian. That means we have a phone line open. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Mark. Mark is next up on PTL. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Brian. How are you?
Good. What's going on, Mark?
Okay. The last thing I want to make a comment on is what Biden released in a memo. But I'm going to get to that last. The first thing I want to say is that name me one country in the entire world that has the kind of gun violence the United States has. But these maggot morons, they claim we need more guns on the streets to make it safe. Mm-hmm. And Ted Cruz says we need to lock the school doors to stop the shootings. Let me tell you something. You give me a weapon of mass destruction, I could blow the doors off the hinges with it.
Listen, hold on before we get to number 2,
sure.
Because you make a good point there. I just want to stop you there and say, you're absolutely right. Okay. When it comes to these bump stocks, I know more than anybody, Mark. You know, I was supposed to be at the October 1 shooting in Vegas. Instead, I went to a Vegas Golden Knights game with a friend of mine. A friend of mine was shot in the lower back, and Trump had a lot of pressure on him to do something. And all of a sudden he meets with the former head of the NRA. He implements some sort of bump stock, implementation. And then all of a sudden now, he's against it, and he's happy with what the Supreme Court did. He talked about it. He wants his A+ rating from the NRA. He's no better than any of these other Republicans that care more about they care more about their A+ rating from the NRA than actual human lives. It's sick.
Let me tell you, when I was in the military and when I got deployed, I had used machine guns. And has anyone ever fired a machine gun? The devastation that causes.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It should be nowhere else except on the battlefield.
You don't need a machine
gun. Nowhere else, because no citizen should have it in their hands. Because it's only meant for destruction and killing.
Yeah, but Don Jr. will be upset at you because he wants to hunt deer with his AR-15.
Yeah,
These frickin' idiots.
Number two, and this is really important. Joe Biden sent out a memo, a press release, okay? And no one's covering this. No one's covering this. In the memo, he had requested $130 million to replenish the election officials nationwide and to run a fair election.
Right.
No one's mentioning this. The Republicans blocked it, and they offered him $20 million. And by the way, Biden had stated that was 5 times lower than what he should get.
Yeah,
like every other year.
Let me add a little something to that. Republicans want to complain about election integrity and cheating in our elections. Joe Biden tries to address it. They shoot it down and they lower the amount of money that Joe Biden is asking for. When they talk about the border and the border crisis, Joe Biden decides to do something about it. Some MAGA supporters come together. They put forth this bill. Then all of a sudden they vote against it. They'll bitch and complain about Obamacare. They have absolutely no replacement plan.
MAGA morons, you don't even know what woke means.
No, they don't.
Morons.
They don't. Mark, you are 150% correct, my friend, and I appreciate the phone call. Great call. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Beverly. Beverly's next on PTL. Hi, Beverly.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, good, Beverly. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mississippi.
All right, all the way in Mississippi. What's on your mind today, Beverly? Thanks for calling in.
I'm happy to be on the call. I'm calling because I hope that many of the young Black people, as well as the older ones, will open up their eyes and vote for President Biden.
Yeah.
The former president does not care about anybody, not even his own race.
You're right.
But he basically thinks that he can cater or say something to different groups that'll make them say, oh, well, he's for me. I heard a young man say yesterday that the felonies were fake. You don't have fake felonies.
Right.
He was charged
right.
rightfully.
You have fake.
And
you have a fake tan, fake hair, fake teeth. But you're right. He doesn't have fake felonies. Those are definitely real. Beverly, if you don't mind me asking you, are you an African-American woman?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the perfect person to ask this question then. When you hear people like Candace Owens, Larry Elder, and others saying Trump has...
Don't ask me about her.
I don't mean to raise your
disgrace to me.
I agree. She's a disgrace to me too, especially people like you. I understand why you would say that. But when you hear these people, and even the Trump campaign saying that he's got the support from Black voters, and he goes to this Black church, I'm sure you saw over the weekend, they call it a Black church, yet 90% of the people that were in that church were white people. I mean, is there any person with an IQ over 20 that thinks that Donald Trump is going to get more than 15% of the Black vote in November?
I would hope that they don't. But I'm going to say this. I heard a snippet of what he had to say to those people yesterday. And he was telling them, the part that I heard was that the immigrants are taking the Black people's jobs. That's not true.
No, it's not true at all. It's another scare tactic. It's another scare tactic, isn't it, Beverly? It's a scare tactic, just like they say that, Joe Biden and the Democrats don't care about Black people, and they want to make it sound like those people, those people crossing the border, they're all rapists and bad people. But according to Donald Trump, some of them, I suppose, are good people. They want to make it sound like transgenders are going to rape your kids and in restrooms. These are all scare tactics, and they absolutely have no solutions for the American people. None, zero. And the same people that complain about their gas prices and how much their eggs are spending $750 for gold sneakers that are worth about $10, and they're buying $60 Bibles that you can get for free at just about any church in the country, including Mississippi. It's a scare tactic.
What needs to be, in my opinion, what the Democrats need to focus on are two things. Inflation is here, but it occurred because of COVID.
Yeah.
Many of the people who are in business are trying to recoup some of their losses, those that are able to stay open.
Yeah.
So, yes, there's going to be inflation because the farmer wants to recoup the losses from his cattle and his, all of his poultry and all of that. Everyone has it wants to recoup something.
Yeah.
Excuse me. With the businesses that are closing,
Yeah.
it's inflation because they have to make up for the businesses that are closing
Yeah.
if they have some left open.
Well, Beverly,
the other problem is,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
the other thing is that what people are not looking at is that he really should be charged with the number of people who were killed because of COVID, because of his lies.
Right. Right. Well, Beverly,
he was charged with
you're right. And Beverly, I'll say this in closing. You should run as Joe Biden's vice president. All due respect to Kamala Harris. She's a nice lady. But I want to see our vice president speak like the way you're speaking right now. Talk more about policy, pin Donald Trump down. I think it's a mistake that the campaign is making. We need more people like you out there speaking. And I'm so glad that you called in, Beverly, in Mississippi. And please call back again, okay?
Oh, I will. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, dear. Great call. Thank you, Beverly. All the way out of Mississippi. I've never been to Mississippi before. I've always wanted to go. Get some good barbecue out there. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Al. Al is next up on PTL. What's going on, Al?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I was listening to your about the 15% black vote.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I haven't seen it, but I think it is kind of ridiculous that it's a black church and there's only white people there.
Yeah, it's true. Al, I'm not making it up.
I'm a Republican. I'm a Republican, but that's kind of an outrage. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anyways, but the thing is this. So the thing is that, I don't know what Trump is doing. The Latino vote has voted the last senator in, and they're going to vote the next senator in.
Yeah.
The Latino vote is the second largest voting bloc in the country, and it's only going to get better. Why is he trying to get an extra 3 or 4 points on the black vote when he can go get 5 or 10 points of the Latino vote, and there's more vote? Guys, I'm a Republican. It's just my party. I'm an Eisenhower Republican. My party's got to get their act together.
Okay, so Al, I agree, Al, but how does it feel to you as a lifelong Republican that the leaders of your party in the state of Nevada, Mike McDonald, as I like to call him, Mike Ronald McDonald, who is facing fake electorate scheme charges that are very serious. You have Jesse Law, the Clark County head of the Republican Party, who, if I'm not mistaken, was just charged with a domestic violence dispute, domestic battery. You have Sigal Chattah, who's second in command, who said about her black opponent a couple years ago, the attorney general, that she thought that he should be hanging from a crane. Al, I would have no problem if you were the leader of the Republican Party because I think you're a decent man. But these are the people that are leading the party in this state. How do you feel about that?
Exactly. And let me comment on that because I've been making comments on that. And the thing is that many of the staunch Republicans are not very happy with our leadership. And let me give you a really quick example. We have 2 seats here in a heavy minority community, which is Latino and black. And we have no candidates.
Yeah.
And who was supposed to develop those candidates? Those 2 people that you just mentioned.
Yeah, they've done a horrible job.
And I know Michael McDonald. He's a nice guy. I know Jesse Law. He's not too bad, but they got to really do their job or let somebody else.
One other quick thing, Al.
It's nice being a nice guy. Do your job.
I agree. So, Al, one other thing before I let you go. So the Trump campaign is claiming that Trump has all this black support, right? Well, he just spoke at an event over the weekend sponsored by Charlie Kirk's organization. They show up with a poster that says on the stage that says White Boy Summer. They're giving out White Boy Summer hats. It's a white nationalist phrase, and they're trying to get the black vote. These people couldn't be dumber, and that's why I say it's a Klan cult.
And let me tell you that I'm telling you that our leadership, if Eisenhower is turning in his grave, as you know, I'm an Eisenhower Republican. Yes. And Ronald Reagan is, both of them are just like, I don't know who these guys are.
Right.
And, let me tell you something. I'm a lifeline conservative Republican, but I would be more than happy to, and I want everybody to, because I know you're trollers, the bandwagoners, the people who are listening to the show right now and podcasting here in the state of Nevada. My message is this: I will work with any conservative Democrat, nonpartisan, independent, and Republican. We got to get common sense going in this country.
Well, you know what? That's
why I call your show, because I consider you a conservative. Whatever party you are, you lean right, you lean left, but I still see you as, generally speaking, as a conservative.
Well, I have some conservative values. I do believe in border security. I do believe in capital punishment. I'm okay with capitalism. So I appreciate the fact that you see that I do side with the right on some issues. But I also agree with you that the only way America actually becomes great, or at least making improvements, is if Republicans and Democrats are willing to work together, and if Republicans are serious about the gun violence in this country, if Republicans are serious about helping the poor, if Republicans are serious about helping everyday Americans instead of obsessing over Hunter Biden's penis and talking about Joe Biden taking a couple steps towards a parachute glider and saying he's got dementia. Al, it's good to hear from you, my friend. I appreciate the call, okay? Thank you.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Al. I've never been called a conservative on this show before. That was the first. No, that's not true. Midas Touch called me a right-wing talk show host. I don't know if I like that because I'm not. 702-221. But I understand what Al was saying. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Patrick, who's next up on PTL. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Brian. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. What's on your mind, Patrick?
Yeah, in regards to the black voters, black Americans, Harry Hinton on CNN did a interesting poll, broke down the numbers, and showed in 2020 Trump had 7% support. Now he's up to 21, so that's where you got the 3x maybe.
So let me ask you that. Let me ask you. Let me
break down the numbers a little bit more, real quick. Give me a sec. If you look at the black numbers for black Americans under 50, the age of 50.
Mm-hmm. I saw it. I already
talked. Biden has lost over 50%.
I already read
He's down to 37 support.
Yeah,
37 points.
I read at the start.
Points.
I read at the start. I read at the start of the show exactly verbatim what you're saying, and here's my point. Donald Trump got less than 15% of the vote in 2016. He got less than 15% of the vote in 2020. Are you trying to lead us to believe that he's going to get 30 or 40% of the vote in November? Like, what do you think he's going to get? I want to ask you. I guess that's my question.
Well, Brian, if he was to pull 20%, that is devastating to the Democrat Party.
I'll make you a bet. I'll make you a bet.
90s and high 80s.
I'll make you a bet.
That's the win or lose of the election.
I'll bet you anything you want right now he doesn't get 20% of the vote. I heard that.
I'll take that bet.
Okay.
I bet he gets 20% of the overall vote.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll make you $100 bet right now on the air, Patrick. Even though I have no idea where you live and I don't know your last name, but I'm going to assume that you're going to be honest with me. And here's why I say that. Back 4 years ago, I made bets, the same types of bets. And I heard people saying exactly what you were saying. He's got more of the black vote.
I'm just saying what CNN's saying. I'm not agreeing with it. I don't have an opinion. I just said that might be where the information came from.
Okay, so first of all, they didn't say where the information came from. That's number one. And number two,
the poll says it on the, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, so they didn't say where it comes from. They also didn't say how many people they polled. Did they say how many people they polled? Where they got this information from?
Right, I understand.
That's kind of important, don't you think?
It is important, but it is a poll just like any other poll out there. You take it for what it is.
So if I polled 5 people right now, right? Hold on, Patrick, just hear me out.
I understand. I agree with you. I'm not trying to make it into some big thing. I'm just pointing out that some of these polls, and even CNN is reporting. This isn't Fox News or OAN. This is CNN reporting, and they're saying it's devastating.
There was one. Okay, so CNN's not saying it's devastating. There was one person. There was one person. No. You're characterizing the entire network as saying this is devastating for Donald Trump. That is not true.
I gave you the name, Harry Hinton.
Exactly.
Their political strategist, the guy that specializes in polls.
And that guy doesn't represent all Democrats. He doesn't represent all Republicans. He doesn't represent all of CNN. And you even openly...
You're stating the obvious, Brian. Everybody knows that.
Okay, so if I polled 5 people right now and 5 people said Donald Trump's a racist, does that mean that 100% of the country think that Donald? Of course
12
not.
juries say that he committed a crime. Does that mean
you want to compare a court of law? You want to compare the justice system to a political poll?
Right.
Or, Patrick, is that it's ridiculous?
The last caller was absolutely right. The Latinos are going to be a big part of this election.
Gotcha.
Trump
how come they weren't a big question?
Question.
How come they weren't a big part of the election in 2020 or 2016?
They were. They voted.
Donald Trump lost the popular vote. He actually lost the Latino vote badly to Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. So I ask you again, why all of a sudden?
I'm showing another poll that he is leading with Latinos over
Okay.
Biden. Why are you getting so defensive?
Gotcha. So you're a poll person.
You're even a Democrat.
I got you.
You get so defensive
No.
about this stuff.
Hold on. No, it's not about getting defensive. It's about correcting your opinions.
I
okay?
never said he didn't win the popular vote.
Hold
You
on.
always talk about the popular vote.
Okay, so you want to talk about polls. So now let me ask you a question. Back in 2016, when literally every poll.
I said Trump was going to win because of the enthusiasm.
Let me finish. Hold on. Let me.
I know what you're going to ask.
Okay. Well, then, just because you know what I'm going to ask doesn't mean you interrupt. Let the listeners hear the question, and then you can answer it. Okay. In 2016, virtually every poll showed that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Did you all of a sudden believe in polls now, or did you believe in polls back then as well?
I listened to the polls just to hear the sentiment of the environment that we're living in at the moment, but it's just a future projection on what may happen. So nobody knows what's going to happen. So
that's all I wanted you to hear. Nobody knows for sure what's going to happen, but I just made a verbal bet with you that Donald Trump does not get 20% or more of the black vote. And Patrick will
I'll take that vote.
Okay.
I'll take that vote.
It's a bet. It's a bet. And I hope you're a man of your word and you end up paying me in November because I have a lot of other bets out there as well. Some people, by the way, in my past have still not paid up the bets they made with me back in 2020 when I bet on Joe Biden with multiple MAGA supporters who have yet to pay up. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to James calling out of Minnesota. Hello, James.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello?
What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go right
Hey,
ahead.
what's up? So I really wanted to ask real quick just about this whole Trump thing and how do you think he's trying to, I mean, obviously he's trying to pander to black voters, but do you think he's also maybe trying to make up and he knows that he kind of struggled a little bit in the first part of his presidency, the last time, with kind of the black vote, and he's just trying to pander now?
Well, I think that's a fair question, but my answer to that, James, would simply be put, this is the definition of pandering. This is the definition of desperation. Middle dumb America, and I'm not saying that everybody that lives in middle America is stupid, but some of the MAGA supporters certainly are, were led to believe that Donald Trump just strolled into a Chick-fil-A in Atlanta and you had a plethora of black people that just happened to be there that just loved Donald Trump. That was a lie. It's not true. I would also say that Donald Trump is pandering to everybody. It's not just black people. He's desperate. Why do I say that? Well, simply put, besides talking about sharks in the desert and all the other mumblings and bumblings that he went through, Donald Trump decided that he was going to pander to everybody in Las Vegas, black, white, whatever the color of your skin is, no matter where you're from, and said that he was not going to tax people for getting tips. My question is, where was that in 2016? Where was that in 2020? Where was that a couple of years ago? He's lying. He's pandering for your vote. So I agree with you, or at least that's my answer to your question, that he's absolutely pandering for black votes, but he's pandering for everybody. Let's be very clear on that. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. I hope I answered your question. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Julie. Julie's next on PTL. Hello, Julie.
Hi, Brian. How you doing today?
Hello, Julie. What's on your mind?
Okay, yes. I was going to touch base with you regarding abortion because you keep on talking about abortion.
I haven't mentioned abortion once in this show, Julie.
Oh, women rights, right? This is basically abortion, right?
No, I haven't mentioned
okay,
it.
you said that Donald Trump doesn't want to eliminate women's rights, which is absolutely incorrect.
Okay, so
because
first of all, Julie, hold on, let's back up. I never even spoke about abortion on this show, number one. Number two, I haven't spoken about women's rights. Number 3, I never said, quote, Donald Trump wants to take away all the rights of women. So I don't. I get very frustrated with you, Julie. You're welcome to your opinion, but don't misquote. Here's what I did say. Here's what I did say. So I need you to listen now, because here's my. Even though we haven't talked about abortion today, here's my take on Donald Trump and abortion. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you my take.
Go ahead.
And by the way, it hasn't changed one bit. What Donald Trump did in putting Brett Kavanaugh and Barrett on the Supreme Court as Supreme Court justices is it enabled them the opportunity to overturn Roe versus Wade. Donald Trump got that going, and he's responsible for that because he put those Supreme Court justices in place. Then he said, hold on. No, I'm not going to hold on because
make a pause.
Hold on.
No, it was not Donald Trump. It was the Senate.
Excuse
you have
me?
to review the Constitution.
Okay, this has nothing to do with the Constitution. Anybody with a brain, Julie, understands that Donald Trump is the reason why the Supreme Court justices were put in place the way they are as a conservative Supreme Court justice. I'm not going to debate you on something that is actual fact. Number 2, after you interrupted me, number 2, Donald Trump said, let's leave it up to the states. And what happened? We saw what happened in Alabama. We saw what happened in Arizona, which was, by the way, a situation there with the Arizona Supreme Court, conservative, of course, that wanted to implement and did implement no exceptions for rape or incest. Now, obviously, the overwhelming majority of Americans and Republicans disagree with that. That is because Donald Trump and who he appointed to the Supreme Court justice, Julie. I'm not going to debate you on that. You can say, well, no, it was the Senate. Donald Trump is the one that implemented this. If we had a Democrat that was in office, it would have never happened as president of the United States. Now, go ahead. Let's move on to the next thing.
Okay, Brian, me as a woman, as a family, as a mother, I'm not concerned about abortion. I'm concerned about the food and how can I afford food and how rents are spiking and how utilities are spiking. No one doesn't care about abortion because that's not a priority.
All right, so I'm going to pod you down again. Thank God you don't represent all women in this country as you make the claim no one cares about abortion. Julie, this is how ignorant you are, with all due respect. Abortion, in just about every single poll in this country, is number 2 on everybody's list, both women and men. Number 1 is the economy. Right behind it is abortion, Julie. You have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I can't have a conversation with. Nobody cares about abortion, only spoken like a true MAGA moron. 702-221-7283. By the way, there's plenty of Republicans out there that would admit that's why they had a bad midterms in 2022, because of the abortion issue. But Julie says no one cares about abortion. Holy smokes. Trump's base, ladies and gentlemen. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. All right. Who are we going to next here? Again, that number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to James. James, do we just have James? I think we just had. Okay, we have another James. James, go ahead.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
So, I have a question for you. How is the overturning of Roe versus Wade not a good thing?
Sure. I think that's a very fair question to ask. And here's my opinion. And here's why it's not a good thing. Because we had what took place in Alabama. We had what took place in Arizona. And most of these people, if they had their way, would have no exceptions for rape or incest. If a 13-year-old girl gets raped, let me ask you a question. Should she be forced to travel to another state to get an abortion? Do you think that's fair?
No, that's a different circumstance.
No, it's not a different circumstance. It's what they passed in Arizona, and luckily too many logical people disagreed. Sir, I'm just going with what we know.
No.
Do you let's start with what we agree on.
That's why it's a good thing that it's on a state level.
So
What do you mean?
So do you think it's a good thing what the Arizona Supreme Court did?
No. I did not say that. I'm saying that the overturning of Roe versus Wade so that the issue is on a state level. That way that the people within that state can make a change.
The people, okay, so let me correct you on one thing, my man. First of all, it's not always going to be the people. Okay, it was the Supreme Court in Arizona. That's a conservative Supreme Court. So make no mistake about it. When Trump says, let's leave it to the states, that doesn't necessarily mean that every person in the state gets to vote on it. Do you see the distinction there?
Yes, no, I understand that, but you have a better chance of fighting it on a state level than you do a federal level.
Well, let's
and
start.
You know that.
Let's try to start with some things that maybe we agree on. Okay? Do you agree with me that if a young, any age, especially a young child, is raped in this country, they shouldn't be forced to have the. Okay, so they shouldn't be.
No,
do you agree with me? They shouldn't be forced to have the child. Do you agree with me there?
Yes, I absolutely
Good.
agree with
Okay,
that.
good. Let's
Now,
start.
let me tell y'all,
Yeah. Okay.
that decision that should be left to those who have been sworn in by the Hippocratic Oath. That is not. We're not medical people. We can't make that decision.
Okay, I don't think you have to be a medical.
But I do agree with you.
Of course, I don't think you have to be a medical person to agree, if you're a person with any moral compass at all, that any woman, especially a child, should be forced to have a rape baby or a victim of incest. Now, there is a group of Republicans that disagree with us on that. I don't want to get involved with other people's lives. I don't want to get involved with other people's bodies. I feel the same way about vaccinations. We probably agree on that. I don't think that anybody, and I've been very consistent on this, while I think the vaccinations are safe, and I believe it saved my life, I have never said that they should have been mandated and anybody should have been forced to get a vaccination. But if you feel that way as well, then you also have to be consistent. Why would you force a woman to have a child? I don't agree with late-term abortion. Most of the country doesn't agree with late-term abortion, sir. But I don't want to tell women what to do with their bodies, especially when it's middle-aged men that seem to be attempting to pass these things.
Fair enough, and I agree. And from the outside looking in, it's not necessarily the greatest look. I think we should be more focused on the societal issue at hand. Like, not every case is a 13-year-old girl who's been raped who's going to.
I never said that. I never said that. It's less than 1%.
I'm not saying you did.
But this is a societal issue. Women are scared. This is the number 2 issue in this country. Number 1 is the economy. In every poll you look at, the top 2 issues are the economy and abortion. This is a losing cause for Republicans. The overwhelming, over 60% of Democrats and Republicans believe in a woman's right to choose. That's just the reality of the situation, James.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not trying to take anyone's rights from them. You know what I'm saying? All I'm trying to point out is that maybe we could carry ourselves.
Let me ask you.
Bit.
Okay, I hear you, James. Let me ask you a question, James, if I may. Go back to when I don't know how old you are now, James, but let's go back to when you were a 16, 17-year-old kid. We all make mistakes. Let's just say hypothetically, it's an assumption that you have unprotected sex with a 16 or 17-year-old girl when you're 16 or 17, legal sex, and you make a mistake. Do you believe we would be taking away that young teenagers' rights if the government in any state said you have to have that baby? Isn't that the actual definition of taking away her rights?
Okay, first of all, I think that the choice is made when those two consent with each other. They don't have a choice over being pregnant or not. We really don't have a choice.
Okay, but are you saying there aren't accidents? There's millions of people that make mistakes, especially when you're 16. Okay, so we agree. So my point I'm saying is, yeah, so you and I think we fundamentally agree that we don't want to take women's rights away. Doesn't mean we have to agree with late-term abortion. I think it's disgusting if a woman has 10 abortions, right? But at the same time, though, I thought the Republican Party was the party with less government involvement. This is the opposite of that.
Man, not necessarily. Taking it away from the federal level to the state's level that's not a good argument for you, man.
I think it is. I think the Republican Party, and I appreciate.
I do agree that it's a losing battle for Republicans.
Of course, it's a losing battle, James. I appreciate your call. It's a valid question you asked. I can only be honest with my answers, but I do think we probably agree more than we disagree. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Maggie. Hi, Maggie. Thanks for calling in. Where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. Thanks for picking up my call today. Again, I wish it was from Los Angeles, but again, from Michigan. But that's okay.
Yep.
Every time so far, still in the United States.
Yep.
That's fine. I really was listening to what you guys are focusing on, and I had nothing to say, and that's fine. But, okay, where we're going with this one is everyone around the board just went everywhere.
Yeah.
And okay, so let me put this in a form that you can listen to. I worked for California and Michigan, California first, and I legalized weed for recreational. And then I moved to Michigan, and I legalized weed for Michigan, recreational. I was on state with the Capitol weekly, phone calls, Zooming, whatever. And the thing is, what I learned is what you guys need to do is start telling the 18-year-olds, the 17-year-olds, that when you turn 18, it is not your right to vote. You actually have to fill out a piece of paperwork.
Well, that's true.
So many 18-year-olds
that's true.
think that it's just, this is very true. This is the one thing that I've very much learned. Even though they can be suctioned into, like, go fight for our country, they still have to
There's
fill
a
out
lot
a
of,
piece of paper.
in most paperwork, even applying for a job, they ask you if you are a convicted felon. So I think in most places in this country,
I'm not even talking about felons. And here's that with this. What I've learned with little Trumpies, that a felon to felon different states means nothing. Apparently, a felon in New York, you can still vote.
Little Trump.
What the fuck is up with that?
Whoa. Watch the language. Okay, we can watch the language.
I know, my
Thank you.
pod.
That's okay. You got to watch the language next time. I did hear the word little Trumpies. I think that was a nickname for Donald Trump's testicles. I don't know if that's true or not. 702-22, boy, that's really disgusting. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. I think that's the nickname from Melania Trump. Little Trumpies. I haven't gone next to those little Trumpies since Barron was conceived. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next on PTL. What's up, Paul?
You're killing me with the little Trumpies. I can never get that image out of my head. So thank you so much for that, Brian. I really appreciate that.
My apologies.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
That is a horrifying nightmare. I'm still shocked that all these people still call themselves pro-life when it comes to abortion. But with George Floyd or any of these school shootings, they don't give a crap about any of it.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they still call themselves pro-life. I mean, they're groveling at their Messiah's feet.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell has no backbone. Mark Rubio was insulted. I mean, Ted Cruz was insulted. He made fun of his wife, and now he is on his knee pads, was orange Cheeto juice around his lips. And the guy it's really, and I was a Republican. I voted for that guy in 2016 because I got tired of the establishment, right? I mean, but the second he took office, anybody with half a brain cell can see what a piece of trash he is. He's a liar. He's a con man.
But Paul, here's the problem. I agree with everything you said. Here's the problem. They don't care. As long as Donald Trump has an R next to his name, he could literally rape a child on a video, and there's a base of his party that would still vote for him. I can tell you right now that if Joe Biden was a convicted felon, the Democrat Party, while they wouldn't support Donald Trump, they also wouldn't support Joe Biden. The overwhelming majority of them would not. Or they would get somebody else in there to run. And many of these people, as I like to call them, clan cultists, and if some of these people don't like that label, I don't care. I went out to that rally last week, and I saw what I saw, ladies and gentlemen. And now they want to claim that, he went to a Detroit black church when 90% of the people in there were white. Give me a frickin' break. The majority of people in America, they know this garbage. They know it, and they know the majority of people that are black, minorities, will not be supporting Donald Trump, and there's plenty of reasons why that you named.
But I think the problem is when it comes to voting, there is a lot of low information voters that hear one or two things, and that's what they like. For him to say he's done more for black people, Joe Biden put the first woman as a vice president and first black woman as vice president. He put the first black woman on the Supreme Court.
Correct.
And he's put more black judges on federal courts than any history in the history. But Donald Trump has done more for them.
Interesting. Paul,
I
think all these MAGA Republicans have Alzheimer's. I think they're in the bunker because before Donald Trump even ran for office, he was sued, civil lawsuits, thousands of times because of racial discrimination. I don't know. Has Joe Biden ever been sued for racial discrimination? Once? Has he lost any civil case? Once? But, Paul, you're absolutely right, my friend. Great call, and it's good to hear from you. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283. 7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin is next on PTL. Hello, Kevin.
Yeah, hey, thanks. It was tough getting in, man. The line was busy forever, and once I finally got in, thank you.
Sure.
I originally called in for one thing, and then just hearing all the other callers while I was on hold, I'm thinking of a bunch of other stuff. I'm going to kind of speed around it for you here. Most of the people that call in don't know how to have a coherent point, so I'm going to try to keep it straight to the point. I think you, and don't take this personally, and a lot of people on your side are kind of lumping in conservatives with Trump sycophants. There's a lot of people, you have paleo conservatives that do not like Trump.
I understand that.
You have
when have I ever, Kevin, I agree with you. When have I ever lumped in every Trump supporter?
Well, no. So that's the thing, that are not Trump supporters. So when you're like, if someone's against Biden, it sounds like you're saying that they're a Trump, they're buying the Trump gold bars.
I never said that. I have a lot of friends that are Trump supporters. Maybe you're misrepresenting what I had Amy Tarkanian in studio last week. She's the former Nevada Republican chair. We're good friends. She's not voting for Donald Trump. She's not voting for Joe Biden. I wish she would, but I've never lumped in all Trump supporters as being people that I do lump in those people at many of the rallies.
All conservatives are not Trump supporters, is what I'm saying.
Okay, well, I would say all Republicans are not Trump supporters. Conservatives, Republicans, whatever you want to label it. I've never labeled. I know
exactly.
And let me tell you something. To the people that you're referring to, that's why Trump lost in 2020, and in my opinion, that's why he's going to lose in 2024 because there's not good, smart, logical, whatever you want to call them, conservatives, Republicans. They might not vote for Joe Biden, but they're not voting for Donald Trump.
So Brian, just like I said, a couple of points, things have kind of changed since I've been on the call waiting here. Caller that called in, you guys were talking about firearms, and he said, name me another country that has this type of gun violence. First off, the United States doesn't even make the top 10 in firearm violence, and our numbers are artificially inflated when you consider that we are the only country that includes suicide in firearm.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Let's go back. Do you agree that we have a gun violence problem in this country?
We absolutely do, and we are
good. We
are purposely not talking about the core issue of that. The core issue with our gun violence is not these maggots, whatever you're calling them.
What's the issue?
They have the camo jackets, black youth. It's young black men shooting other young black men.
Let's go with that for a second because I completely let's go with that. I completely disagree. With you. Okay, so let's go with that. The biggest mass shootings in this country, the October 1 shooting. What was the color of that man?
The mass shootings, while they make the news and they're outrageous
These
and
are the
grab
biggest
attention, they're dramatic. Pale in comparison. Memorial Day weekend.
Hold on.
In inner cities.
Hold on a second.
People shot and killed.
Hold on. The biggest mass shootings in this country, whether they be school shootings or mass shootings in this country, are not black people. Number two, this is not a black.
You're looking at dramatics. You're not looking at the overall numbers.
Okay.
If you care about people dying, you have to look at the numbers.
Okay, so hold on. So you're saying an 18-year-old getting in there, buying a bunch of AR-15s and thousands of rounds of ammunition.
That's not killing. That's not killing Americans.
Let me finish.
It's black kids with stolen Glock 9mm that are killing Americans.
You got to let me finish. You got to let me finish.
Go ahead, Brian. I apologize.
That's okay. Now, it's your opinion that the reason why we have so much gun violence in this country, you're calling it a black problem. Here's why I
absolutely
disagree.
Is.
Okay, I know that. Absolutely, I disagree with you. This is an American problem because I know people who have been the victims of.
See, now when we talk about blacks doing something wrong, now it's Americans. A second ago, when you were talking about demographics, it was all black this and Latino that.
What are you
that's
talking
why this problem? That's why this problem doesn't get fixed.
Hold on. First of all, I was talking about the support of Donald Trump, not crimes that are being committed. That's number one.
Right. So you were breaking it down by race. As soon as you break down criminality by race, all of a sudden, it's not about race. It's an American problem. It is an American problem. It absolutely is.
So what would you say then to somebody who goes into a school who happens to be white, or somebody that kills 60 people at a concert that happens to be white? Is that also a black problem?
No, but let's say that, the Vegas shooting, that's a whole other topic.
So what are your solutions?
Sure you guys can't even get into that.
Okay.
No, that's horrible, but I don't care about if they're black or if they're white. I care about the numbers at the end of the day.
It sounds like
if
you do.
Look at the
so what are your
numbers
solutions?
at the end of a year.
So what are your solutions?
The solutions are big. First of all, we stop giving blacks an excuse to act like fucking animals. Sorry about my language.
Well, first of all, I'm not going to tolerate swearing, and I'm not going to tolerate racism. There are also white people that act like animals, but I'm sure you characterize those same people on January 6th, right, sir? I'm sure you called them animals. Were they animals, those white supremacists on January 6th that attacked police officers that day? So I'm not going to allow you to characterize black people as animals, okay? That's exactly what you just did. And please don't swear on my show.
And you're ducking out of it because it's a tough conversation for you to have.
Yeah, it's a tough conversation to have, but I've had you on the phone for 10 minutes. What the hell are you talking about? Here's what I think, sir.
I'm sorry the rest of your callers just agree with you, and they're geriatric fools. I'm trying to give you a back and forth.
Excuse me. I have more guests on this show that I disagree with than I agree with. I don't like agreeing with people, and they're not fools. So you're not going to characterize people that actually make eloquent points that are not racist as fools. Okay,
you haven't had any pushback on your points. I'm giving you pushback on your points, and I'm giving you an opportunity to actually talk about them. And you're doing the exact problem. As soon as I say
what are your solutions?
Crime, you go, whoa,
what are
racism.
Hey, I'm going to hang up on you unless you answer my question. You've called black people animals, which they're not.
No. I'm saying you cannot make excuses for an entire
what
group
are
of
your
people
solutions?
For acting like animals.
Give me. Do you think the white people on January 6th were animals? I just want to know if you're fair, racially speaking.
The white people that weren't federal agents, I think they did some stupid stuff.
I'm going to ask you the same question,
and I think they were idiots.
It's a yes. I didn't ask you if they were idiots.
Are they?
Hold on. Answer. I need you to listen.
No, the majority of them. No, the majority of them.
Hey, sir,
weren't
I need you to answer.
Up.
I need you to listen. You're not listening. I need you to listen to my question,
Brian.
okay? Because you're making excuses. I'm specifically talking. Excuse me. I'm specifically talking about the white people who attacked police officers with their own batons, attempt to gouge their eyes out, sprayed them with bear spray. Would you characterize those specific individuals also as animals? Yes or no?
If everything you said is true, then absolutely. But we get into a different discussion there. But you're changing the goalpost.
I'm not changing.
We're talking about firearms death.
I'm not changing any goalposts. You seemed very hesitant to call them animals. Now I want to know what your solutions are.
I didn't know what you were referring to.
Okay.
Hey, Brian.
All right.
Look, we can have a conversation.
What are your solutions?
Exactly.
Okay.
What you were referring to.
I want to know what your solutions are, regardless of what you think about black people versus white people when it comes to gun violence.
That's not. Again, I never said that, and this is the problem we get into in discussing.
I just said, regardless of what your feelings are on this issue between black people and white people, I want to know what your solutions are. That's all.
The solutions are, as a country, we need to be civil. We need to, and this is the tough pill to swallow. Hear me out, Brian. You asked me a question. I'm giving you an answer. How about we get rid of the no cash, free out of jail, no bail? People are held responsible for their crimes. If we have to build more prisons, build them. If we have to bring back the Liberia program, do that as well. But you cannot keep releasing and encouraging criminality.
So you want a civil... Okay, so let's talk about that. You mentioned the word
No,
civil.
people have to follow rules is what I'm saying.
I understand. And I'm going to ask you this question because I think this is very, very important to civil. By the way, I agree with you. I think we all need to be civil. I agree. Did you vote for Donald Trump, and will you be voting for him this is a very important question. Will you be voting for Donald Trump in 2024? Because you sound like you're a conservative. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
So
I'm
you're
voting,
voting.
And I'll tell you this.
Okay. Hold on. No. Hold on. This is important. You're calling for civility, and you're talking about accountability when it comes to criminality, yet you're still willing to vote for a 34-count felon who is the opposite of civil. Sir, with all due respect, that makes you a hypocrite. And I don't, you know what? No, it does. No, it does. You lose all credibility when you want to preach to me about civility and you want to preach to me about criminal accountability, yet you're supporting a guy who's a liable sexual abuser, a 34-count convicted felon who is not civil, who attacks everybody that disagrees with him. He attacks women based on looks. He attacks our brave men and women in uniform, suckers and losers. I don't respect him because he was captured. And he is a 34-count felon, sir, with all due respect. So don't come at me with civility. What do we do about all the gun violence in this country? Well, we need to be civil. Yet you are willing to vote for and support, again, a guy who is the opposite of civil, a guy who is a 34-count felon. And by the way, Donald Trump is white or maybe orange. Last I checked, he's not black. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Sean, who's next up on PTL. Hello, Sean.
Good. I'm afraid you're like all worked up now.
No, it's called passion, my friend. That's all it is. It's not worked
All
up.
right.
It's called
I
passion.
love it, though. Hey, I was just going to give you a quick scenario that the Republicans may accept as far as abortion goes. Let's say Donald Trump was a woman, and he had 5 kids with three different men.
Well, he has a bunch of kids with a bunch of different women, right? Did we lose you? Did we lose that caller? I apologize. My friend, that was not on purpose. I apologize. We hung up on you by accident. My apologies. You can call back. That was unintentional. Justin made a boo-boo. It's okay. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Call back. I was interested on where you were going with that if Donald Trump was a woman, so you're welcome to call back. All right, let's go to Carl. Hi, Carl.
Hey, how you doing, Brian? Listen, I've got to disagree with you. Trump is going to get 100% of the black vote this time, of the black people he hires.
You're probably right about that. Yeah, you're probably
Those
right.
are the 100% he's going to get.
Yeah, you're probably
Once he pays.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
That's true.
Well, I just wanted to get you cleared on that.
Thank you.
That there will be 100% vote for the black vote, but I'm kidding.
I know you're kidding, Carl. We got to get to some other callers, my friend.
Okay.
But I
Take
do.
it easy.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Terry. Terry's next on PTL. Hi, Terry. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi there, Brian. I'm telling you, the passion today, it's over the top.
I hope that's a good thing and not a bad thing. I don't know.
Oh, it's a fabulous thing.
Can I ask you
I
a
knew
question?
from the start that, yeah, sure.
Terry,
yes.
A guy wants to call into this show, and he seemed like a smart guy, right? And he wants civility. He says that's the problem with gun violence. We need
yeah. Thank you.
He wants to talk about accountability when it comes to criminals and civility, yet he's defending, supporting, and voting for a 34-count felon who is the opposite of civil. How can I take him seriously?
If you can't.
You can't.
You can't take that guy seriously. He's nuts. He calls in and he says, I'm a conservative and we shouldn't all be lumped in with the Trumpers. Well, my God, he was a Trumper. He's a little bit nuts.
It doesn't make any sense. And
No.
then he wants to say that the reason why we have all the gun violence in this country is because of black people. I mean, listen,
right.
I'm going to be very honest with you, as I always do on this show. That's your typical Donald Trump supporter. Black people
Yes.
are the reasons for all the problems in this country. Make America great again, make America white again. Let's talk about civility. Let's blame Democrats for all of our problems. Let's talk about law and order. But when it comes to Donald Trump, let's throw everything out the window because he's not a convicted felon. And civility, well, he's an entertainer, so that's okay. It's absurd.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And the truth of the matter is about all these mass shootings, they're almost always young white men.
Yeah. When it comes
always.
You're right. When it comes
young white men.
Absolutely. When it comes to the biggest mass, I'm not saying that. Listen, this is an American problem. I don't like to make gun violence a racial issue because I don't believe it is.
It is not. It's not. It's an American problem, and it's the love of guns is so over the top. It's ridiculous.
I don't care whether it's gang violence in Chicago or a mass shooter in Vegas. Innocent lives are innocent lives, and I don't care what the color of one's skin is. But obviously, that MAGA supporter does. He thinks it's just a black problem. Well, you know what? I think it's an orange. I think it's an orange problem. I think it's a Republican problem. Yeah, I mean, it
is a Republican problem. I swear to you, I'm sure all of them are.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. Let's let bump stocks. Let's bump stocks are fine. Thoughts and prayers. AR-15s, assault weapons are fine. But let's just blame black people for all of our problems. I'm so sick of it.
Absolutely, it was terrible. He was just unbelievable.
Let me tell you something. When I went to the rally last week, you might have seen some of my videos. Millions of people did. And when I went to that Trump rally last week, and I said it felt like a Klan rally, That's exactly what I meant. People at those rallies that blame black people for all of their problems, they blame Democrats and they blame black people. It is a Klan cult. I stand by what I said. I stand by it.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And he pays people to come to those that are the right color.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right about that. Hey, it's nice to hear from you. I got to take a break, but thank you for calling, dear. I appreciate you. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the golf guru, Dennis Silvers, is going to join us. Now, he's a Republican, and he does a political show, so I'm sure we can get into some of these topics with him as well. We'll take a quick break, and I want to tell you guys about my good friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Every Tuesday, show your TAM card. You get $50 in free slot play. Every Thursday, if you complain about gas prices, hey, here's an opportunity. They're giving out $1,500 in free gas. You can win a $100 gas card. Just play the machines. You get entered into an electrical drawing, so to speak, virtual drawing if you earn 200 points. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Check them out. We'll take a quick break. Dennis Silver's coming back after this. It's PTL.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Tired of the same old date night? Craving a deeper connection with your partner? O-Box is your escape into a world of romance and passion. Each month, discover a box filled with personalized surprises, exciting activities, and a love story written just for the two of you. Ignite desire, share laughter, and make memories that last a lifetime. Your O-Box journey culminates into a beautiful love novel. Ready to write the first thrilling chapter? Let the O-Box adventure begin. Visit our website, obox.com. That's OBOXXX.com. And get started.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helb's Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Did you know that 99% of air conditioning issues start with airflow issues? Well, guess what? Pioneer Air has your back. They've been operating for 20 years in the industry within the Las Vegas area, large enough to handle all your air conditioning and heating needs, but small enough to know your first name. Pioneer Air focuses on preventative care, much like wellness checks for humans. They believe in wellness checks for air conditioning and heating systems to extend the life of the system you own. So what are you waiting for? Schedule your wellness check with Pioneer Air today. The number to call is 702-831-4840. Here's the best news. Mention this ad and you'll receive 10% off. Call Pioneer Air today. 702-831-4840. That number again, 702-831-4840. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. We definitely pushed some limits in that last segment, that's for sure. Thank you all for being a part of this show. We got 15,000 plus watching the show live right now on all the social media platforms, and very appreciative of that. Check out my new website, which is pushingthelimits.live, where we got a lot of cool stuff up there. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can buy merchandise. If you don't want to buy merchandise, you can donate. There's a lot of different things you can do on there, and extra content as well. pushingthelimits.live, and thank you for supporting what we do here. Also, speaking of support, Jackson's Bar and Grill, as I mentioned, located at Flamingo and Jones. They're big supporters of the show. Great people. And I got to tell you, man, I was in there the other day, had probably the best lunch I had all week. Just great food, great atmosphere, great people. Show your TAM card on Tuesdays this month. You get $50 in free slot play. And also, the good news is if you want some free gas, who doesn't want free gas? Earn 200 points and you're in a virtual drum and you could actually win a $100 free gas card. Check it out, Jackson's Bar and Grill. Our very special guest that is in studio right now. He's known as the golf guru because he covers professional golf, but he also does his own podcast, which is a political podcast, which I can also appreciate. Dennis Silver's joining us in studio right now. Dennis, how's it going, man?
Going good. Thanks for having me. I always love being here. And I get all my gas free. Every time I open up a can of chili.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
I bet you do. Apparently so does Donald Trump in the courtroom. Yeah, apparently. So before we get to, obviously I want to talk some golf with you and I want to talk about the U.S. Open. Dennis is waiting in the lobby and he's like, what were you yelling about in there? What are you screaming about? Callers get me fired up. But you know what? I would rather have a caller that calls in. I love all my callers, but if a caller calls in and he's well-spoken and we get into a debate, I enjoy that more than somebody that I agree with. I mean, that's just the way I am. I think it's better radio and I enjoy it. But there's like, what do you make of these conservative hosts? They never interview liberals or anybody that disagrees with them. What do you make of that?
That's why I say I'm envious of you in the sense that you take a lot of calls. I used to love taking calls because you never know what you're going to come across.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes for good radio.
And I want pushback,
Yeah, absolutely.
And I enjoy pushback. And a guy made it. I'm the only person that's giving you pushback, and they're all fools. First of all, they're not all fools, and second of all,
right.
I want pushback.
Yeah,
I welcome pushback
all
the time. All the time. You think I went to the Trump rally last week because I didn't want any pushback?
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. I suffered through that 105-degree weather at that cult meeting.
Brutal
out there. It was a cult meeting. You didn't go, did you? Did you go?
No.
Oh, okay, you didn't. How come you didn't go? You're a Republican. How come you didn't go? I'm curious.
Well, it was going to be hot. There were going to be thousands of people out there, and yeah.
Would you ever buy a Trump Bible?
But he had a good rally.
They were selling Trump condoms. They were selling Trump sneakers for $750. Did you think it was a good rally?
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Tell me why you think. I want to hear your perspective.
Well, there was he did his thing, and there were a lot of people out there, a lot of support, got a lot of coverage, as he does everywhere. But
what'd you think of his speech talking about sharks and how he doesn't want to tax people that'll get tips?
I think that's huge, especially here.
But why? Right. But that's the only reason why, in my opinion, why he brought it up here. Why didn't he do that when he was president?
Good question.
Could it be that he's pandering? Could that possibly be?
Very possible.
Okay.
Very possible.
Well, we agree on that. He's trying to, we agree on that. What do you make of Marjorie Taylor Greene comparing Donald Trump to Jesus? Boy, I'm asking Dennis all the good questions today.
I don't know. Does that mean she wants to nail him to the cross? I don't know.
In that case, praise Jesus. No,
wow.
I don't know. No, but you saw what Mike McDonald said. You saw at the rally here in Vegas what Marjorie Taylor Greene said.
Yeah,
It's like that's why I call it a cult. I'm not saying everybody that supports Trump is in a cult, but I'm saying there's a base of people that go to his rallies, those types of people.
Yes.
In my opinion, it's a cult.
Kind of. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. But, Mike McDonald, you got to take what he says with a grain of salt.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially if it's a fake electorate scheme, you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's going to be found guilty. I do, but it's not going to happen until after the elections.
Right.
Do you think Trump's going to win?
Yes.
Why?
Because people see what's going on in this country with the border, with inflation, with other things, and Trump has solutions for that. And I think people look at him like, yeah, he's actually going to do something about it.
Well, he said he was going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. Obviously, he didn't build the wall and Mexico didn't pay for it. When it comes to inflation, obviously, he gave Joe Biden a very poor economy and a very bad situation during a global pandemic. Would you agree that things are getting better and inflation is going down based on the numbers? Or
minuscule. And I don't think he gave him a bad economy. I think everybody was pretty happy. They were making money. Gas was down. Groceries were down. People felt pretty good.
Well, I mean, I only go by the statistics. I can't account for what people think. But unemployment is the lowest it's been in 50 years. In fact, unemployment right now is lower than it was before COVID.
But that includes so many part-time jobs. You know that.
But With that being said, though, the statistics show that unemployment is the lowest it's been in 50 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, manufacturing jobs, the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Listen, I would respectfully disagree with you. I think that Joe Biden's going to win. I think the debate next week, I think we would both agree, is probably more important for Joe Biden than Donald Trump. I think that's
Absolutely.
very, very important.
Yeah.
But I think the debate, it's either going to make me more confident or I'm going to be very nervous. It's going to be one or the other. And I don't know.
I think you're going to be nervous.
I think he's going to do okay. You know why?
Because I don't think he's going to know where he is and what he's supposed to do.
Okay, but I heard people say that exact thing before his speech, State of the Union. I heard exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
And then what did they do? Oh, he must have been on drugs. By the way, you couldn't find a drug that would do that. But I did hear a lot of people. So did you agree after his State of the Union that, hey, he did an okay job?
He did an okay job.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so you would admit that.
Yeah.
So you would admit it.
Yeah.
Because I don't consider you like a cult member. You're going to vote for Trump, but you're not like all in with Trump.
No.
Okay, so if he does a good job, if Biden does a good job,
I will admit to that.
could
right
it change your mind at all, or no, on your vote? Could it possibly?
If he paid me, maybe. I don't know.
How much money would I got? $20 on me. All right. Well, listen. There are two different types of three different types of Trump supporters, and I had Ron Filipowski on. There are the Trump supporters. The first two I will mention that I don't think you're in the category. The first one, at least I hope not. the cult part.
Yeah.
The people that I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and they'll still support me. The people that go to his rallies and buy the Trump shirt.
Right.
Hey, those are just crazy people. He could kill somebody.
They still vote for him.
Then you have intelligent people, but people that care more about their tax breaks if they're in the top 1% than the good of the American people. And I would call that a little bit selfish because Trump had the biggest tax breaks for the rich in decades and decades. And then I think there's a group of people like you that are just lifelong Republicans. They don't want to vote for Democrats. Doesn't matter who they are. And even though you don't like Trump a human being, you don't like a lot of the things he says, you don't like Joe Biden's policies. Do you think that's fair?
That's fair.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that's what we're looking at now.
That's fair.
I think that's what we're looking at
Yeah.
now. But I think that the reason why Biden, I think, is going to win, and there's a lot of time between now and then, my opinion could change, is because we have too many Amy Tarkanians out there. We have too many people that are lifelong Republicans that, although they're not going to vote for Joe Biden, they're not voting for Donald Trump. And I think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. takes some of those Donald Trump votes away as well.
Yeah. He's moving up.
Yeah.
He's moving up.
He is, but I don't think these are
I enjoy
Democrats.
listening to him talk.
Well, besides the robotic voice.
Yeah.
He came on the show last month.
Terrible.
He came on the show last month, and listen, we had a respectful 30-minute conversation,
Yeah.
and The View played part of my interview, and some other entities, and I came out of that interview saying I'm not going to vote for him. I wish he'd stop talking about vaccines, but I don't think he's like this horrible guy.
No, he's not. No.
And people, there's a lot of rumors circulating, but I think it hurts Donald Trump more than Joe Biden. I don't know how you feel about that.
He's going to take some votes away.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, that's the way I feel as well. All right. It's crazy, right? Because I used to do a lot more sports on this show, and this show has turned into a predominant political show. However, I do like talking sports, and I do watch the majors on TV. I don't watch a lot of the regular PGA Tour events on TV, but I absolutely watch the majors. I'm a golfer.
Yep.
And congratulations to Bryson DeChambeau. Let's start there. I think he's great for golf. He does things a little bit differently than other people. He plays a little slow, but he's great with the fans.
Yeah.
He's great with the media. I've seen him sign autographs for hours.
Yeah.
He seems like a really good dude. I've got nothing personally bad to say about him, and I was happy for him. I thought that was really
I was too.
Yeah.
And he earned it. And like I just mentioned with McIlroy, pressure gets to all of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I was rooting for him. I didn't want McIlroy to win for a number of reasons. But, I got to say this. This is the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
So why do they have people from all sorts of different countries there? Asian players, people from Britain. It's a U.S. Open. I think it strictly should be 100% Americans. If they want to have a World Open and invite who the hell they want, that's what they got to do.
Well, the British Open, they have a bunch of Americans
yeah.
playing in that as well. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's I'm not sure it's any different. I mean, I get it. It's the U.S. Open, but at the same time, I think you want the best players in the world.
Well, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
You
so
do, and they had him there. But I'll tell you, a lot of people are saying these grains tricked up, this and that. Donald Ross, I think, designed these greens to be half of the speed that they were during this tournament. A lot of people are talking about that, and I have never seen putts come so close and hit the edges of cups where they went straight, went through the break, made a right turn or whatever. So many good putts that missed. So I don't know.
Well, I'll say this.
I've talked to people that have played Pinehurst number 2. All of them had said,
well, everybody had to play the same golf course.
Yeah, no,
So-
I know,
so I
but
don't have a
they
problem
all
with
say
that.
that the course is overrated.
Well, I don't know if that's the case or not. I never played the golf course, but let's talk a little bit about Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
By the way, I never knew he was not a Trump supporter. He was anti-Donald Trump, so now I'm a fan of his. But no, in all seriousness, he made a lot of Trumpers are going after him. Good, we're happy that Rory lost because he's anti-Donald Trump. It's just really bizarre. But I guess Rory made some comments a couple years ago that he played golf with Donald Trump once and he never would again because he disagrees with like everything about him. But anyway, that's beside the point. Rory missed I saw a stat, Dennis, about 3-foot putts and in that Rory had made his last, like it's something along the lines of like the last 170 putts he had made 3 feet or closer, and he misses that 3-footer on 18. And that's ultimately what cost him the tournament, because then it would have been a playoff. But here's what I didn't like. And I say this about any golfer and any professional athlete. The media is there to do a job. You're supposed to do a press conference.
Right.
The network that covered the tournament, he refused and declined that interview, and he declined the interview with the press. That's wrong. You look like a freaking crybaby.
Absolutely.
And I think it's a horrible way to leave the golf tournament.
Absolutely.
Own what you did. You're one of the best golfers in the world. Face the music and answer questions. That rubs me the wrong way, man.
Yeah.
Rubs me the
stuff
wrong way.
happens, okay? So stand up for it.
Yeah.
Give an explanation. And it wasn't as if he wasn't trying, but a lot of things are bugging me about him. The way he handled the divorce. He had Tiger's attorney on
Isn't he
speed dial.
Isn't he banging the TV chick?
Yeah.
What's her name? I forgot her name.
Oh boy.
Blonde chick, right? I forgot her name.
Boy, I could just picture, but it'll come to me.
He seems like kind of a crybaby a lot.
This thing about, I don't want to get divorced now. I want to make up with my wife. I want to be a family. I think his wife's very, very attractive.
Very pretty.
I'd
yeah.
love to see her, move here. But he did it for one reason and one reason only. It was going to cost him a boat full of money, to get divorced, because he's worth a fortune. And I think that was the motivation.
Could be.
I think that was the motivation. I really do.
Could be. I tell you what, with things going on in his personal life, to still be playing the golf that he's playing is,
I know,
pretty damn impressive. I'll say that. Yeah, but I didn't like it when he walked off the course like that, and I thought it was, beneath somebody's, particularly somebody of his stature.
Well, who else was not giving interviews because it's the same old questions and I'm tired of it? Who said that? I can't remember.
I don't remember, but it's stupid, it's wrong, and it's unprofessional. I will say this though: on 18, have you ever seen a better up and down than that? What Bryson DeChambeau was able to do on
50 yards out in the bunker.
That was pretty incredible.
Whoa.
He earned it.
Yeah, I didn't
think he was going to get up and down from there. In fact, I thought he would struggle even to make a bogey.
Yeah, he did get up and down.
But that was really spectacular to see that. Listen, he's a different kind of guy. He does things differently than everybody else.
Yep.
Nobody can convince me he's not good for golf. He hits the ball 350 yards off the tee. He's other than playing too slow, I think he needs to work on that. But he seems like a really good guy. And I thought, there was a child confined to a wheelchair, or not really, maybe someone a teenager confined to a wheelchair. And I'll give Rory credit for this too, because they're on maybe it was like the 12th or 13th hole, and he's set up there, and Rory shakes his hand and says hello to him. I thought that was classy, and I love it. Bryson DeChambeau is trying to win a U.S. Open, and he takes the time to sign an autograph for the kid on his hat and shake his hand. And I just thought that was a really nice moment. And I give Rory credit for that as well. I don't think Rory's this terrible bad guy. I think Brooks Koepka's a bad guy. I'll get to that in a moment. But I think Rory's a good guy. He's just a little standoffish and maybe at times wussy. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad term. But
That's a good word.
yeah, yeah.
That's a good word.
So Bryce, the controversy is, Bryson's obviously a live golfer. You've had live golfers win majors.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, live golf has some of the best golfers in the world. They
Yep.
don't have every best golfer in the world, but
Nope.
they got a lot of them. And here's another live golfer that wins a major, our own U.S. Open.
Yeah.
So is this good or bad for golf?
I think it's good. I think it's good when you have a player of that ability, of that personality, who loves to mix it up with the crowd, which is great because let's say it is entertainment. It is show business. And so many of these guys, and you know this, have no personality at all. They don't interact with the gallery, nothing. But that's what the game is about.
He's a showman. And
He's
I love
a showman.
And I love the fact that he shows his emotion. He wears it on his
Yeah.
sleeve. I love the fact that he shows he's a personality.
Absolutely,
And
he is.
golf needs more of that. And a guy like a Brooks Koepka, who, by the way, I think is such a douche. I think Brooks is such a douchebag. He shows no emotion on the course. He's not good with fans. He's had this riff with Bryson DeChambeau for I don't understand what reason. Why? Because he plays a little slow. I mean, I just think Brooks Koepka is such a douchebag. He's such a douche. And Bryson does all the right things with the media, with fans.
yeah.
He's great with the fans. I've seen him here. He won the Shriners Hospital for Children's Open here years ago. I saw him do so many kind things on the golf course for people, and he always acknowledges the fans, and I really do appreciate that about him. And these guys that are anti-Bryson, and it's just like, screw you. The guy's great for golf. I don't think anybody can deny that. He plays a little slow. He's great
either.
for golf.
Yeah,
I think he's
absolutely.
great. He's great. So now we have this live conversation coming up again. Here's another live golfer who wins a major. What is the latest on the Saudi Live Golf Tour and the possible communications with the PGA Tour and what they're doing?
Well, they're still trying to get something put together as far as an agreement. I was told by somebody, a friend of mine who represents a couple of live players, that they are going to go to 72 holes next season, add some more golf courses. And if they get a decent television contract, get off the CW, they're gonna do very well.
How are they making money? How are they making money? They're paying these guys hundreds of millions of dollars. Obviously, the Saudis are just willing to burn money, but they got it.
They've got it to burn. Believe me, they've got it to burn.
And why are they doing this? They just want to ruin golf in this country? I don't understand.
They want to develop golf for their country. They have an interest in it, but
they're losing billions of dollars.
They'll never run out of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
You're probably right about that.
But we'll see about an agreement. It's just on and again, off again, on again. But I think and the PGA Tour, of course, doesn't talk about it, but I think secretly, or however you want to put it, there are more and more PGA Tour players that are kind of looking at Live right now.
But I'll be honest with you, Dennis. I've never watched Live Golf on TV. They were very nice to me. The tournament was here a few months ago. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was fun. I mean, I watched John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, and Brooks Koepka in the same group, and there were maybe a couple hundred people following the group.
Yeah.
It was heaven as far as just watching, but they don't have the pressures that they have on the PGA Tour. You pay a guy like DJ hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
He's not going to be working on his game. I don't think DJ's ever going to win a major. Now, Bryson is a different guy.
Yeah.
He's got that crazy work ethic, right? Bryson is a different dude. He'll be on the range. It doesn't matter how much money you give this guy.
Yeah, I
he
agree.
wants to be the best. He wants to hit the ball the longest, and I appreciate that about him. But most of these guys aren't on the range. They're not beating balls on Live.
No.
Brooks Koepka, DJ, they're never going to win another major, in my opinion. I really don't think they're going to win another major. I don't think they're working on their game like they once were. That's why I say it's bad for golf.
Yeah.
You pay a guy hundreds of millions of dollars. How could that be good for golf? How?
I know. Well, they still want to win. They're still competitive.
I'm sure they want to win, but when you're at a beautiful resort wearing shorts and on these playing these resort courses, it's like, I don't know.
Well, the only pressure that they have being 54 holes, once you get out of the chute, you've got to keep your foot pedal to the metal. Because if you have a bad hole or two, you're done. I mean, it's really hard to make it up.
Yeah, I mean, so
that's the pressure they got.
But again, the PGA Tour has a problem because, you got another guy from Live that wins another major.
Yeah.
You got to think that the PGA Tour is not rooting for the Live players to succeed in these majors. You'd have to think.
Correct.
And listen,
Correct.
there were a lot of guys that were right there on the leaderboard. Obviously, Patrick Cantley was one of those guys that was right there. I'm not a Patrick Cantley fan. I've actually gotten into it with him before. I'm not a Cantley guy. I think he's a snotty prick. That's just my personal opinion. But there's a lot of other guys that were right there that were maybe 2 or 3 shots back for most of Sunday, and they just couldn't get over the hump, right? Oberg, I believe his name is, who was a really good player. He's a really good young up-and-coming player. I think it might just be a matter of time before Liv snatches him.
No doubt.
Really good, really skilled. And you got a lot of other guys from some of these other tours. I'm trying to think of the World Golf Tour. What's it called?
DP Tour?
Yeah, the DP Tour. I've watched some of that on TV.
Yeah.
I've watched some of those tournaments. Some really good players on that tour.
Some very good players on that tour.
Yeah. So I've watched that as well. But overall, I think the ratings were good, and a lot of people watch. When you got 2 guys like Rory and Bryson battling it out down the stretch, it's very exciting to watch.
Yeah.
But golf will never be the same as it once was when Tiger was in his prime. The ratings will never be what they once were.
No, but I don't think Tiger is ever going to get a special exemption again for this tournament.
You don't think so?
No.
Hmm.
He just, and he even came out and said, I don't know if this is going to be my last Open or not.
Wow.
He's going to play one more tournament this year, and that's the Open. That's it. That's it for Mr. Woods.
His body just can't handle it.
No.
And it's unfortunate because he's been the face of golf for so long.
Yeah.
But I hate to say it like this, but he did it to himself.
Absolutely.
Could he, if he didn't get in that car crash?
Yeah.
Could he still be competing in majors? I would probably say yes.
Oh, I would say yes.
He did it to himself. He fell asleep at the wheel. Thank God he didn't kill or injure anybody else.
Yeah.
The man did it to himself. So it's hard for me to feel any type of sorrow for him. At the same time, his son's kind of struggling a little bit, right? He's tried to
Charlie, yeah.
What do you make of this 15-year-old? Or how old is he on the Corn Ferry Tour?
15.
That's insane.
Incredible.
That's insane. So
incredible.
Unless something else gets in his way, he could be the next Tiger Woods. Is that fair to say?
I agree. Unbelievable talent. How about this? Speaking of talent, you had 2 amateurs playing.
Mm-hmm.
That made the cut. Good for them.
Yep.
And I forgot the guy's name with the long hair. That one low amateur.
Yep.
He was hitting it further than Bryson.
Was he really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
That is sick, isn't it?
That's crazy.
That is sick.
Well, quite a bright future that he has. He's in his, 21 years old? Is that right? I think he's 21 years old.
From Ohio State.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
You talk about a future.
I just cannot comprehend how a 15-year-old could be a professional golfer. I can't comprehend how a 15-year-old could. I think he made the cut at a Corn Ferry, right?
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And I think he just got a sponsor's exemption to
did he?
A PGA event at the age of 15.
It'd be interesting to see.
That is incredible, man.
Interesting to see how he develops.
I know the jokes from the right would be, well, Joe Biden's probably attracted to him. I know you like that joke. Must be a pedophile. But,
I don't know. He's got to smell his hair first.
Probably. Dennis, we got about a minute left to go here. Tell me about your podcast.
Well, the podcast, thank you for that. We have a great time with it. It's called the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. We do live video podcasts. We stream the show live on Facebook and YouTube. It's on, we do this show on Thursday starting at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we were fortunate enough to get a great array of guests.
And there are some podcasts with no listeners that are just as obsessed with you as they are with me, I've noticed.
That's right.
Over the last couple of years or so. The way I see it is any podcast that is obsessed, negative or positive,
is good.
I'll take it. It means
me too.
I must have done something right because people are talking
the old
about
saying,
me.
any publicity is good publicity.
People want to continue to talk about me. I'm totally okay with that. I ignore the trolls, but obviously when you trigger a group of people, they can't handle it. And when they can't handle it up here, they just, turn to other ways of trying to insult somebody. Yeah. But anyway, Dennis, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
I tried to get you on the golf course yesterday, but Dennis ignored my text messages.
Did you get out?
I did. I played with my dad.
Good.
We had some fun. It was a little hot. You know what? It wasn't too bad out there. It wasn't as bad
Yesterday,
as I thought.
it was warm.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. It was actually not too horrible out there. But yeah, we had a good time. I shot a 71, and I haven't played golf in like 3 months, 2 or 3 months. So I still got it. I can still play. Not too bad.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to the course on Decatur. I forgot what it's called. The public Muni course.
Oh, Muni? Las Vegas Golf Club. Yeah.
It was fun.
I love that
It
course.
was fun. Yeah, it was cool. Dennis, thanks for being here, man. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it. Check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can sign up for my newsletter free. Check out some merchandise you can buy in there. If you don't want to buy merchandise, you could also click on that donate button, and I appreciate all of your support. Have a good day, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie.